minute now officially on the Fight Bananas podcast. Kat Nelson, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Kind of want to jump right into it. So you fight XFN, 28, literally Saturday. And not even that, you're coming out of a corona pandemic, a global pandemic. There's a lot of protesting going on. There's a huge situation, with the passing of George Floyd and all of that nature. So it's like all this is going on. It's like you guys are fighting in a cage, and it's like, and you're so young in your amateur career. It's like, did you feel any of that, or did you feel like your camp was all right and your performance was just spectacular? One of those kind of, I feel like when you debut for the UFC, they're going to show that highlight. It's just one of those things that will be with you forever, probably. Just like, how good do you feel to kind of have that behind you now and have that underneath your belt?
I mean, it feels great, especially since I'm so new to the sport and I'm already making pretty strides, and I have already in my second MMA fight. It feels great. The fight camp was definitely a little different since we didn't have a gym, but I did what I had to do, and I was definitely prepared to win, and it showed. So
I kept on thinking about it, like, are you going to tell your coaches from now on, be like, hey, they want your ass in camp? You know how coaches get, Julian and Mike would be like, hey, Kat, we need you in here training more. We need you here. I'm like, hey, guys, I'm fine. Like, I'm good. I need more of the Corona camp, Let me come in here. Let me bang a little bit. Let me chill. Or you can't wait to be in the gym 24/7 and kind of just really get back in that grind.
Yeah, I mean, before the whole coronavirus, I was constantly in the gym, so that's why during I had to do something, and I actually turned my garage into a gym. I have wall pads, I have floor pads, I have boxing, everything here to train. I also have Phil Rowe has his own little gym. Mitchell Kamali. Julian actually has some mats, and Mike Scroy has his own little thing in his garage. And I was going to all of them during the whole fight camp. But I'm definitely excited to get back in there. It's just different having all the guys in there and having all those bodies to train with and get better with. So
for sure. And I loved you talking about that. It's like people all the time, especially now in our generation, right? Just people all the time are always making excuses of why they are not where they want to be, or, hey, I can't fight because of this reason, or anything, right? Not even talking about fighting, just, hey, I can't pay this bill because of this. Like, you literally threw out 4 viable options that aren't maybe the normal, right? Maybe Phil, UFC can fight literally any week now. Your matchmaking so quick, but yeah, what he did for his, garage, and like what you said with you, and, Mitchell's always rolling over there. And it just seems like positive people and winning type of people, they overcome that. They adapt, they adjust, they just make way, and I love that mindset, just hearing that from you. Like, oh, it happened, but hey, I did this and this and this, so I'm good. Really, yeah, I really kind of want to get back. Oh, you're going to hit on it?
No, I was just saying, I definitely agree with you. It's obvious that I really wanted to continue with this fight camp, because there was a point where I was waiting to see if it was even going to happen anymore. Right. And fortunately, they kept it going, and but yeah, they saw that I really wanted to continue with this fight. I was excited, and I really appreciate all of them for helping.
I remember, I think it was XFN, they put something on their Instagram page, something about the week of the fight, like you were a ring girl for XFN, and then you were fighting for him. But even the ring girl, the packed house, your first fight was a packed house. How was it fighting in an empty arena, gym, with very, not a lot of noise and no crowds? There's only so many fighters have had that feeling. So I would love to kind of get your take from it.
I honestly really liked it. I was in enemy territory, so I was full of confidence going into that building and going into that fight. So nothing really fazed me. But not having any fans and just having my corner, it was interesting, but I really liked it. I was able to hear everything my coach was saying, everything my corner was saying, everything that her corner was saying too. So
Okay, so
definitely.
when you hear that, were you picking up on that? It's like, hey, they're saying calf kick, or whatever. You're like, okay, if they're going to go calf kick, I'm going here. Was that something a part of almost your game plan, or was that just something on the fly? You heard something from them, and I'm changing something up.
Yeah. So my fight was only like a round and a half, but
Right.
towards the end, of the first round, we were. I was on her back, and we were against the cage for the last like 30 seconds, and her corner was yelling, "Oh, like 20 seconds left, 20 seconds left," and I heard that too, so I was able to make the necessary moves and
Right.
get last two punches in.
I
But
love. Oh, absolutely. Like especially UFC, you hear the big, blow whistle, right? It's like 10 seconds. Like you're probably not going to get the submission in 10. Man, I'm throwing some hammer
yeah,
fists or some hella elbows. I'm going to get some damage in this last 10. That's all. I always think of that every time. It's like, and they kind of sometimes don't, but okay, I want you to really take me into the finish. It's just, like I said, it was that spectacular of a finish. Masvidal has that knee to Askren. Every time you see Masvidal even talked about, that's the knee you see. Tell me about the spinning back fist for anyone that hasn't seen it, or they're listening to us for the first time, whatever. Talk me through it. Was that something you practice? Is that something part of your arsenal? How did that come through?
yeah. I actually, the first time I ever used the spinning back fist was in my second kickboxing fight, and I threw it twice, the same as my last fight. I threw it twice. The first time I missed, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it again. And I threw it in my first kickboxing fight. I actually knocked her down, and so that actually won me the fight. Was knocking her down because it was a pretty close fight. Um, then ever since then, I've practiced it a bit at the gym, and I have actually thrown it in my fights. And this time, I knew I hurt her. I know I hurt her, and I went for the TKO. So
Loved it. Loved it. It was so good. All right. So 25 years young. Wow. Be
yes,
25 once again. You have so much great buzz around your name. Everyone that I talk to, and higher ups, even agents and agencies and companies and Fight Pass and all this stuff. It's pretty wild that they do know who Kat Nelson is. Like, you have some buzz around the name. It's, to me. Well, there you go. There's two different ways to kind of think about it. One, is it a negative way, almost like more pressure on you? It's like, wow, I'm still a young amateur. I'm still kind of on the way up. That's a lot on me. Or the other way is like, no, that's awesome. Like, it's, at the end of the day, it is entertainment. It is, MMA and all that stuff. So, of course, sometimes even the best fighters don't get the best fight. The entertainment gets the best fight, or, guy or girl, right? So it's like, you already have, to me, a really good following and great buzz. Is that something just really, really you take beneficial, and it's like, oh, hell yeah, this is awesome. I'm appreciative of it.
yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. I've talked about it in previous interviews, but I've always been in competition, and I've been exposed to competition in sports since I was a young girl. So I'm used to the attention, especially when it comes to sports, and I usually excel in athletics. So yeah, I think it's great. Um, I'm in no rush though to
Right.
you know uh, like going pro. I know I have a little ways. I definitely want to get more experience and be ready and be prepared for that, and then on to the next chapter after that. But no rush. I'm taking it day by day. I learn something new every day in this sport, and I go back and I look at the footage, and I always find my flaws, and I always fix them for the next fight.
Right, for sure. Always just trying to improve. Even on a win, you do want to try to get better and better. I would love for you to hit on something you said in that answer was you always, were, athletic and you always had competition. What was that back in the day? And then two, what was it? There's always a memory or there's always something like, hey, I'm going to walk in and try to be a kickboxer, try to grapple. There was always a story why, you are now a, mixed martial artist. What was that story for you?
Well, my father is a Taekwondo master, so I was born to martial artists, and I did Taekwondo as a young child, and then I got into more contact sports. And just ever since I got into contact sports, I really loved it. I played softball in college, or not college, in high school. I was going to play in college.
What position?
I was catcher.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to Boone High School, and that year we had Chase Cassidy. She was like one of the best pitchers in the state, and I caught for her. So I was gonna go to college, but I didn't want to play softball for the next 4 years, and I didn't know what I wanted. So
right.
kind of just a few years later, so this would be 2 years ago about so I really needed to find something to do again, and use my body and my athleticism in some type of way. So I started with kickboxing, and then I got into boxing, and yeah, I found fusion a year ago, and I got into grappling jiu-jitsu, and it's just all coming together.
Oh man, I love it. That's awesome. We have like a couple threads on this podcast. One, we're all in with Masvidal. He's the greatest fighter ever. Two, we need like open judging for score, and we always talk about it. Maybe three, thread is all the listeners out there, especially all the kids, guys, skip college. It's super overrated and really expensive. You don't need it. Just skip college, okay?
Yeah.
That's what I tell people.
Yeah, it's
older people get so upset. Like, just skip it.
Just the education system in general is off, but yeah, I know it.
Crazy. All right, so got the win. You feel good, like you said. We talked real quick off air. You're like, hey, I ate. I'm drinking. Life is good.
Yeah.
What's next? Is it you kind of want to get back into the octagon soon, or back into the cage soon to kind of go, or you're like, no, I'm taking it as it goes, and it was a great win. I'm gonna cherish it, and then maybe at the end of the summer hit something up or early fall, or is it something sooner?
I'm taking this week just to reset and relax.
Right.
I'm going to speak to Julian and my coaches, and talk to them about what I saw, and talk to them about what they saw, and go from there. In mixed martial arts, there's a lot of disciplines. So how I train is kind of in phases, like maybe two striking more than jiu-jitsu and I don't know, something else. But
right.
Yeah, so I'll talk to them about it and see what I need to work on. But I definitely want to keep. I might want to take at least 2 more fights, MMA fights, this year. We still have half left, so, and maybe a jiu-jitsu competition. Just I like to stay active. I like to continuously improve, and that's what helps me is competition.
Right. And, I see you, I follow you on Instagram, and I see you kind of rolling with Jada, Megan Cawley, sometimes at Mitchell's house. I'm a huge fan and activist for like jiu-jitsu and like active competition for it. To me, it's so good. I know, especially Florida, seems like there's always a couple. Leo Code puts on, and yeah, you rolled for a Leo Code show, right? Last time.
Yeah, I've twice
Twice.
now.
There you go. Yeah. I love those shows. It's like you said, it's kind of keep the competition going. It's always good to kind of every time you make a walk towards a cage or a ring or an octagon, I always think you get a little something. It's like a little tool in the tool shed. And that's a part of the game too. It's a huge part of the game too. And if it's, Jillian Robertson's literally made a career about just finding people's neck and choking it. You know what I mean? Like she's literally UFC superstar and that's what she does. She finds the neck. That's what she does. Every time we talk, she's like, Dave, I'm going to find her neck. It's just that's the game plan,
Yeah.
So I think that's a great, again, really great mindset for you. And it's like, yeah, get a couple MMAs in, but definitely if you can roll a couple times, it's so positive. Like it just more tools for the shed.
Yeah. And I'm also, I've talked to actually girls have been hitting me up and actually want to fight me. So yeah, and they're Muay Thai girls, and I'm down to take a Muay Thai bout. I'm down to do a few kickboxing fights again. Anything like you said. Every time you step into the cage, make that walk, you're gaining something when you come out.
For sure. Who are some names that are calling you out, or some names?
I don't remember names. I just like they're in my DMs. I try to respond. I try to respond to everyone. It's starting to get out of hand, but I try to respond to everyone for now.
I told you got that buzz around your name. They're sliding in. People are sliding in. Man, I love it. Is there a name that you do want to hit on? Have you, we know a lot of the same circles, especially for Florida MMA, and especially for amateur MMA and like that budding pro, UFC Fight Pass and stuff like that. Is there any names that nothing, no beef, but I would love to kind of, respectfully fight that person sooner or later? Or is there a name that even like, like we just said, Megan Colley, like, hey, she's went up the ranks at Jungle. She's fought for the Invicta FC. Like, it's almost like a good path for you. And now Felicia Spencer's fighting for the featherweight championship against the greatest female ever, Amanda Nunes. It's just, I love how Florida MMA, Hannah Goldie, Jillian, like we said, there's just so much positive people to kind of watch or take or kind of follow in a good way. But is there anyone that you like or not role model to that side of it? But then is there a couple names that, I would love to get in the octagon with or ring with to duke it with?
So role models, I haven't trained much with a lot of the females. It's more of the males. Fusion is filled with males. And so for a role model for me would be Julian Williams.
Right.
I watch him and I want to be like him, but I'm not. But so he would definitely be a role model for me. And then names, I don't really know a lot of the female fighters, especially in my weight class. I know Megan Colley fights at 135 and 125.
Right.
But yeah, I don't have a desire to fight her, but if it happens in the future, then so be it. But yeah, I don't know a lot of amateur bantamweights either. So whatever comes to me, I'll take it.
For sure. One thing kind of the last just MMA kind of a topic in the last week or so has been like John Jones is feuding with UFC and about money and situation and texts and all that stuff. It's kind of pretty wild that it gets so much in the public, really, to be honest. But like, it's really weird that sometimes a lot of people have like a bad tone towards UFC. But everyone that I talk to, all seems like, especially in the last year, just Phil Rowe is one of them. Like, so many people have recently just jumped in the UFC. Phil Rowe, Hannah Goldie, Mike Davis, so many of those guys, especially all of them, were at Fusion and stuff at one time or another. It feels like it's still this, at the top of the mountain. That's like our goal. That's the goal. Like, hey, if I had to work for any MMA event, organization, they want someone to talk and have really good hair, I would want to go for the UFC. You know what I mean? So it's like fighters, why I just don't understand the negative concept, to the UFC. And are you one of those two? Are you like, yeah, that's UFC or bust, or no? Like, is it more open? PFL is paying a lot of money when they were running. A lot of people love going overseas and fighting for one. I would just love your take on kind of your generation a little bit. Like, is it UFC or nothing, or just no, whatever goals, whatever opportunities I get?
Yeah, I'm definitely surrounded by fighters that are shooting for the UFC, so I feel like I have that same passion as well.
Right.
And honestly, right now I do see UFC, but I love the championship. I love the talent overseas over there, and just the matchups that they have, and the whole Muay Thai with MMA gloves, and how they're all mixing it up, being creative, and also female fighting is getting bigger too.
Oh,
So we don't know what's going to happen with that either. But yeah, definitely the UFC. I'm definitely shooting for that.
there you go. Hey, you got a lot of buzz around your name. Agents know you're big. We were just talking about how great Fusion CBD products is for our body. We have a code here, Fight 2020 on Fight Bananas, and I know you're working with them. So big ups to Fusion CBD products.
Great products. They've really helped me through my fight camp.
That instant freeze is like, it's
Yeah,
money.
I rub it
Real cool. We're about to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Kat Nelson. I can't wait. Like, your career is like this ascending rocket. Very, very excited for you personally. Name me a couple fighters. Like I said, we were talking about like male or female that you've watched. It could be UFC, could just be around the scene that you've really really are dig into. Maybe a lot of outside the octagon or even inside, just what they do. What are a couple fighters that really catches your eye?
Well, someone that I really look up to is Bullet Valentina, just because she has a Taekwondo background and she's just really well rounded, and I feel like we kind of have a similar fight style. I've also been watching a lot of Zhang Li just because she is the champ right now, and I've watched a lot of her fights, and I think she's great too. Amanda Nunes, she's the GOAT. She just has this natural, raw athleticism and power to her that's scary, but it's great.
Right.
Those are three female fighters that I look up to.
Sure. And I don't know if you know this yet. Like, I'm a little bit into the future. Felicia Spencer is going to beat Amanda Nunes. I don't know if you know this yet. I'm throwing it out there. Huge underdog, Orlando, Florida. It's so funny. I've talked to so many people. I talked to Felicia on Monday. Huge podcast. Ray Longo is coming out. We broke down UFC 250, right? And Amanda probably wins this fight 99 out of 100 or 98 out of 100. But for some reason, even Ray Longo, like, I kind of talked him into it a little bit. I just think Felicia's just got a little it factor this fight. I think the whole Corona pandemic, Amanda Nunes has been dealing with a lot. She kind of like backed out of the fight twice. Her significant other's about to have a baby. That's a lot. I'm someone with multiple kids. I know what that does to a person. So it's just, I feel like there's a lot going on. And Felicia's like literally zoned in, tunnel vision on Amanda. So, I know she's a big underdog and it would be a humongous upset, but, hey, someone's got to be bold once in a while in life. So I'm going with Felicia Spencer on the upset.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen it on social media and everything, and good luck to her. I've seen that Amanda has been traveling to Brazil too, and that all of that, like, everything you do during your fight camp affects your fight.
100%. probably for the last 2 weeks, another fighter that you might not know of, amateur fighter Ann Ribeiro, who is Bigfoot Silva's daughter, right? And I talked to her like a week and a half ago, and almost the whole podcast it just ran about like mentality. Everyone, 125-pound female division, right? Everyone's built similar. You know what I mean? It is what it is. That's what the division makes or does. Someone could have a little longer reach or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's like mentality. She's like, dude, I fought 4 or 5 times and like I knew almost when I was going to win and I knew when I was going to lose before the fight even started. Like the opponent doesn't even matter almost. It's just where you're at mentally. And like you said, yeah, just Amanda. And that's what happens when you become the champ and the GOAT and there's so much going on and you get a little bit older too. She wants to have the family and I get it. That's amazing. That's like, she deserves it. She is the greatest female fighter ever. But when someone's just been watching, you just said you've been watching Wei Li. Imagine if you fight her 6 years from now and she hasn't lost and she's been fighting all these other people, but like you've been really concentrating on her for 6 straight years. You know her jab, you know her inside calf kick, you know it all. So it's time.
We'll see, Saturday. Hopefully.
It's time. I want to give you the I want to give you the platform. End it however you want. Sponsors, training, coaches, shout outs, all that. I'll give you the floor. Take it away.
Fusion Excel has really changed my life. I started fighting with them and now I'm 5 fights in. Julian Williams has helped mold me to what you saw on Saturday. Same with Mike Scroy, Phil Rowe, Mitchell Kamali for helping me through this fight camp with the whole COVID-19 and inviting me into their homes and home gyms. My corner was Mike Scroy and my boyfriend, and I really appreciate that they went into enemy territory with me and we showed up and we showed out.
Right.
So my sponsors, which is Fusion CBD products, Anstill Nutrition, and my massage therapist. He works at American Top Team East Orlando.
Oh, nice.
So they've helped me a lot as well, and just my family and my friends that continuously support me, even though they don't necessarily want me to go in there and get hurt. They still support, that I love to express myself through this sport, and I really enjoy it. So.
Awesome. I learned 3 things, 3 things hopefully people take away from this interview. 1 is how important mentality is to the game. 2, how great Fusion CBD products is. And 3, college is overrated, kids. Don't go. Save your money. Be a tattoo artist, be an MMA fighter, talking to a mic for a living, do something else, find a craft that you love and go for it. Go all in, like literally all your time, all your effort, just go for it. Skip school.
You have to find something that you're passionate about and
right.
Go with it.
100%. Kat, first of many, we'll talk to you very soon. Whenever the next fight comes up, we'll talk to you. But anytime you want to come on, you're always welcome. I appreciate you.
Cool. Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.